It's a bit like getting that special seat in a restaurant, that seat where you have a view of the kitchen, you watch talented chefs creating extraordinary creations, and you have the anticipation of imagining just what everything might taste like.
Sounds pretty good to me. That is the experience that 207's Peggy Kaiser has had recently, watching the team of talented high school chefs from the Green Ladle prepare for and compete in both the state ProStart culinary competition and now the nationals. And Peggy's here with the story.
Well, Rob and Amanda, you might remember that we caught up with the team from the Green Ladle back in February while they prepped for the state competition. The Green Ladle chefs are culinary students at the Lewiston Regional Tech Center, where they are part of the ProStart culinary program, training with some of the most seasoned chefs in the state. And back in February, all of their hard work paid off. The competition goes like this. Each team has 1 hour to create an appetizer, entree, and dessert, entirely from scratch, using only 2 burners. This is a gourmet meal they have created, sourced, priced, and practiced. They have prepared this meal more times than they can count. And on that Saturday in February, competing against 5 other teams from around the state, the Green Ladle turned up the heat and took first place.
3, 2, 1, go.
No sooner had the trophy been triumphantly carried back home and they were back at it. Rather than resting on their laurels, or in this case, their knives and whisks and pastry bags, these ladies are pulling out all the stops, getting ready for the next big competition. A trip to the Nationals in Providence, Rhode Island. Chef Dan Karen is their teacher, mentor, and head cheerleader.
These girls really have a shot, though. This is a different caliber of students than I've brought there even in the past. You know, these girls are shot. They really are. And being an all-girl team, I think it's fired them up.
Does this sound right?
In the last few weeks, he's brought in a lot of community chefs to offer input, advice, and perspective.
And we treat every practice as if they were at Nationals. We really do. So we always have chefs here. We always have an audience. Today, you're the audience. And that really makes them step up the game, too. They know they have to be on. We changed a lot.
Pan searing, so you're sauteing?
Today, Chef David Turin and Chef Will Barrio are on hand to watch, critique, and make suggestions.
But boy, these kids really meld. Yeah, they get together, they get right into it, and there's a silent communication. It's like when one person blinks, the other one's got it in their hand. So that's a nice thing. I feel good about any team going to the Nationals because the learning curve for these kids and all the students of Maine, and boy, we have some unbelievable culinary students in Maine at the high school level, and no matter win, lose, or draw, what they pull away from that is huge.
You put the chocolate so it was jammed sort of in between the cake and the chocolate.
During this session, Chef Turin spends a lot of time on their presentation, right down to the details of how to present the dessert, all the while teaching, coaching, and encouraging. The hopes are high for the Green Ladle team.
These kids are already champions. I mean, they won the state already. If they execute, I think they have I think they could be in the top 5 in the nation. This is not typical food that you're going to see at National. It's not overly touched, it's real, and it's really, really flavorful. And if you look at the score sheets, the biggest scores go for the way the food tastes, which is as it should be. What they've cooked is really tasty.
This is the focal point of your dish right here, this potato.
Jada Tuttle is part of the all-female team, and part of her job is actually plating the perfectly grilled pork chop.
And that's one big thing we focused on, making sure it looked as refined as it tasted.
It's been very valuable to the state championship team over the last 5 or 6 years to have them talk with somebody that's seen the national competition, so they don't walk in totally surprised by the level of competition and the amount of noise and the attention. And so, you know, I really try and come in here and rattle their cage a little.
So that when they walk into this kitchen, they will be prepared to perfection. 48 teams from across the country have traveled to the Rhode Island Convention Center, some bringing along their own cheering sections.
At first, you know, we got chefed up and we came down to watch everyone else compete, you know, get a feel of the room, kind of diminish our anxiety a little more.
You all look really calm and collected and confident. Are you feeling that way?
all. That's why we're just trying to give every ounce of energy we have to this performance. Like, this 1 hour is everything. We just have to do what we know.
They huddle, getting a few more words of wisdom.
Come on.
Gather at their station, and with that, they begin.
Go!
None of the women of the Green Ladle had ever competed at the national level, and as you watch them work, it's easy to forget. These kids are teenagers. Months of work are on the line, and the young chefs go through their paces like pros. The rules restrict Chef Dan from any communication with the team, not even a thumbs up, and he paces like a nervous father.
So guys, I have extremely hot water behind you. I'll be very careful.
These ladies know the competition is fierce. Teams like Texas beat out over 200 other teams at their state level to make it to the nationals.
10 minutes, Maine.
The hour ticks by. All the while, judges are scrutinizing every move, every knife cut, every time they handle the food. They are marking teamwork, technique, and temperature. Tenths of a point can separate the top teams.
Let's go, Maine!
And seamlessly, the Green Ladle brings each part together to create and plate their masterpiece.
Oh, look at those beautiful plates. Way to go, Green Ladle!
With a minute or two to spare.
Go!
And march their trays to the judging area. Finished plates from teams across the country are created, garnished, and displayed. And when it's done, the team could not be more pleased with their performance.
That was really nicely done.
Nicely done.
And finally, after pacing on the sidelines, Chef Dan gets to exhale.
Girls make me proud, girls.
That smile's gonna hurt, Chef
Oh, no crying, Chef.
I know.
Very emotional.
You get it.
Hold it together.
Well, there were more than a few tears of pride shed as these young ladies finished their work. We learned yesterday evening that the team from the Green Ladle finished 14th overall. They did a terrific job. This all-female team will graduate 5 seniors in just a few weeks, and they all have plans to attend culinary school right here in Maine. It is the ProStar curriculum taught at schools like Lewiston Regional Tech Center that is cultivating our next crop of world-class chefs, and the Maine Restaurant Association and its members make it possible for the team to go to the nationals.
It's going to be really good for you to see kind of from the beginning. You've been there since sort of the start.
I have to say I'm like crazy about these girls. Devin and I had Devin Crawford, our photographer. We had so much fun following them, and we were cheering for them right along with everyone else yesterday. We were so proud of the job they did.
14th out of 50, and as you note in the story, I mean, from Texas.
Oh my gosh.
The competition is just on an entirely different level.
Right. The finished products were unbelievable, out of this world, as was the Green Ladle. So it was really great.
Good for them. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks, Peg.